The crabapple trees in the neighbor's backyard had gone nuts, big pink explosions of flowers that fell in drifts on the grass on either side of her father's white picket fence. A squirrel ran through the branches, knocking the petals down as it went, then fell lazily, like fat flakes of snow, and tumbled across the grass every time a puff of wind came along. The crabapple trees in the neighbor's backyard had gone nuts, big pink explosions of flowers that fell in drifts on the grass on either side of her father's white picket fence. A squirrel ran through the branches, knocking the petals down as it went, then fell lazily, like fat flakes of snow, and tumbled across the grass every time a puff of wind came along. The smell was incredible. Regan leaned on the rail of her father's deck, one hand wrapped around a cup of coffee. It was one of those rare days that she missed her cigarette habit from college, to soften the edges of the world when they got too hard. The neighbor's patio door slid open a crack, and a small white Pomeranian ran out, charged into the fallen petals, and plowed through them with its mouth open, yapping incessantly and spinning around in circles. The squirrel froze for a moment, then started cursing at the dog. Pwok, 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 pwok. The dog froze in complete shock, then started attacking the base of the tree, scratching the bark with his claws. The squirrel continued to curse at the dog. Regan clenched her teeth together and laughed through her nose, trying to keep quiet as the dog began to circle the base of the tree, growling and trying to figure out a way to get at that squirrel. Neither one of them was going to win. It was obvious. It was all just a bunch of noise, empty threats. Jake came out onto the patio and put his arm around her waist. She leaned her head against his shoulder. One of the branches shook. Then a stick flew out of the branches and landed next to the dog. A second stick followed it. The squirrel was throwing things at the dog. The dog went insane, all four legs rigid, barking so hard that it pushed itself a fraction of an inch backward every time it yapped. It was like watching a wind-up toy. Regan stood at the rail and held back her laughter until the neighbor's back patio door slammed open and the owner, still dressed in a blue and white striped bathrobe at 10:30 in the morning, shouted at the dog to shut up. The dog growled a question. "Grrrr?" And the owner said, "Shut up or it's a bath for you, bub." The dog put its paws over its face and shivered. Then she lost it, whooping